So today I'll be reviewing Boruto Chapter 48, Time Limit. This review is far too late for me to bother going in depth, but I do want to talk about the chapter by going over key points and what they could mean going forward, and what I thought could be major takeaway or focuses of this episode, like how Amato hints at what could possibly be Jigen getting a new time limit on how long he can stay without Kawaki, and how Isshiki, or not Isshiki, Kashin Koji may be coming for Amato. So the chapter starts off with Isshiki versus Koji, and Isshiki tells him that Amato just used him to drag him out of Jigen's body, and Koji doesn't believe him because he thinks that this was his solo mission and that he was supposed to win, which is kind of tragic when you think about it because he was sent on a suicide mission not knowing, similar to how Jiraiya was sent on his mission not knowing that he would die. But I guess Jiraiya probably had an indication of how his mission was going to end. So after that, we see Amato get his civilian rights to live freely in the village, but now he has to work under Katatsuke and hand over all his ninja tech. And we also find out that the neck bomb around Shikadai was a fake the whole time, and he knew Naruto and Shikamaru would fall for it after seeing the first one blow up, and that was a pretty genius move by him. And I'm willing to bet no one saw that coming, because if you see a fake bomb blow off right in front of you, or if you see a real bomb blow up, you're not going to assume the second one is fake. I think Amato is one of the more interesting members of Kara because of his overall intelligence. I hope Jigen doesn't just walk in here and kill him. Naruto and Sasuke are kind of forced to protect him now, which is kind of interesting. And I say that because after that, Naruto tries to ask if they should just go back up Kashin Koji now, since Kashin Koji can't win alone, but Amato tells them that Jigen is just going to come after Kawaki, so they might as well just stay here, because Jigen only has a few days left to live, or I guess not Jigen, Isshiki, and that he plans on planting the karma on Kawaki before all is lost. So that sets up a ticking clock for this part of the story of the arc. So when that clock runs out, Isshiki is either going to die naturally because of the power that he has, or he'll claim Kawaki for himself. Either or will trigger the end of this arc, and I'm pretty sure it'll trigger the time skip too, or at least the events that will trigger into what could be the upcoming time skip. And I'm probably equally invested into what's gonna lead into what happens when the ticking clock runs out, and what triggers before, and what happens before it. So what leads into it, and what happens after. So after that, we see Kashin Koji versus Isshiki. And Kashin Koji switches into Sage Mode, which everyone speculated he had. I even made a video talking about it, but I thought it would be more effective against the Otsutsuki because of the words that Urashiki said. When he grabbed a hold of Mitsuki's Sage Mode, he kind of treated it like it was a foreign object, not just chakra. And so because of that, I assumed it'd be more effective against him, but I guess not. And that's because we saw Kashin Koji use more fire when we saw him use Sage Art, the 5 Fire Gods, Fan of Flames, followed by a massive Rasengan, but that wasn't enough, and it didn't even really seem like it did significant damage since he switched over into his true form. Especially after Isshiki activated his secret dojutsu, the Dai Koten, which pretty much allows him to pull objects that he shrunk and stored in another dimension where time doesn't flow into this world at any given point, which I think is pretty interesting because back when Amato talked about how Isshiki only had a few days left, he kind of had this pause right after he talks about how they'd be lucky if his life runs out before that. And it makes me think that maybe Isshiki has a way of storing himself in his dimension where time doesn't flow. And if he does do that, I think if he was able to heal in that dimension where time doesn't flow, he'd be completely broken beyond belief. But if he's just able to keep himself in suspended animation there for however long it takes Kawaki and his seal to fully mature, meanwhile he can't do anything in there and he just comes out with like 3 days left to live again, or 2 days if he fails here, I think that'll be a pretty convenient way to bring him back while keeping everyone alive at the same time. So to simplify my explanation, Jigen places a seal on Kawaki and then leaves because Naruto and Sasuke show up and he can't handle them right now. So he stores his body using the Dai Koten in his dimension till Kawaki's body is ready. And when he comes out, I'm guessing it's probably going to be at least 2 years or so, or however long it took Kawaki's body to mature the first time, He'll come out, he'll have a few days or less, depending on how much time he has now and how much time he takes to come back and claim Kawaki's body. And by then, I'm guessing it'll be Boruto, Naruto, and Boruto will be at least a few years older, and Naruto and Sasuke should be fully prepared for him this time. And if that does happen, that would be some amazing setup in this chapter. So, that aside, Koji is slowly dying on the floor as he says he can't feel his arms and legs anymore. And Isshiki says that it's because he didn't want to acknowledge Amato's betrayal and that was human weakness. And then asks for his last words and is like, you say something while he's just on the floor. And so Koji does a reverse summoning to escape, which was pretty cool. I only wish Jiraiya could have pulled that off back in the day. And Jigen just kind of, or I guess Isshiki just kind of assumes that he's going after Amato, but then he really just doesn't care. And so Koji escaping means that it's now possible for him to meet Naruto later on. And it also opens the door for a popular fan theory that I'm kind of on the fence with and don't believe at the moment, that Kashin Koji may train Boruto, or that Naruto will give his final goodbyes to Jiraiya to Kashin Koji instead, as he's dying, and maybe that'll motivate Naruto to get the win against Isshiki. So after Isshiki says he doesn't have time to waste on him, he says that he's going after Kawaki. But something I'm interested in is if Koji is actually going after Amato, because that would escalate the situation dramatically, because if they meet in the leaf, Naruto would be forced to protect Amato from Koji. So that would be Naruto protecting Koji, or I guess Koji, Amato from a Jiraiya clone. Like, how would Naruto react? It leaves the door open for so many potential plot points. Maybe even Sasuke ends up defending Amato. It just makes my anticipation for the next chapter that much greater, but I won't be mad if none of this happens. So, in the last bits of the chapter, we see Boruto acting concerned, but also childish, because he's asking Naruto and Sasuke to join them in the fight, and Naruto says absolutely not. And Boruto makes a good point. Naruto and Sasuke couldn't win against Jigen, and that was Isshiki in his weaker form. So now they can't win against him in his stronger form. But I don't know why he thinks he could get involved. And it's probably because he feels like he helped defeat Momoshiki, but Naruto and Sasuke essentially set up that whole win for him against Momoshiki. For Boruto to be relevant in the fight or the rematch against Isshiki, it would have to be Momoshiki taking him over. And for that to happen, not only would it have to be highly convenient, Momoshiki would have to have a reason to fight him and want to team up with Naruto and Sasuke. And we don't know what Momoshiki's thoughts are on Isshiki. I don't think Isshiki likes him, but it could just be that they just don't agree with each other. But right after that, Sasuke says, or he asks Boruto if he's willing to die for the village at any time like he and Naruto are. And I think that's a good question to ask Boruto, because he always says that he wants to be a ninja like Sasuke, but he doesn't know what that truly entails and the sacrifices that comes with it. Because Sasuke is hardly in the village with his family because he has to be who he is. And I don't think Boruto, who's always been around his friends and grew up in this era of peace, is truly ready for that. And as they're talking, Naruto gets the alert that Isshiki has entered the village and they haven't evacuated anyone yet. So their best chance to beat him is probably going to be the next chapter. It makes you wonder, are they going to team up? Will Momoshiki appear? Maybe Rock Lee will help out, because I guess maybe he won't be able to do anything against Rock Lee. But I don't know. Isshiki, we don't know what his full power is yet. In every chapter he unveils a new ability. And if his dojutsu is based on the Dharma wheel, he'll have 8 different abilities, which is crazy to think about. But let me know what you thought of this chapter in the comment section below. The next chapter will be out on the 20th in 2 days. But be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Thanks for watching, and bye.